creating an assignment, and then how to read the report, and how to use the grade mark and the Peermark. So is any of that stuff, does everyone here know how to create an assignment?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yvonne?
Nana created all of ours, but I'm trying to figure it out.
Donna?
So do I have to go in to turnitin.com and create in order to?
No, okay, so we'll go back. So if you want to use Manage Back and turn it in together, the only limitation is when students submit into the Dropbox in Manage Back, it'll only use the originality report. So it'll just show you right there on the Manage Back page. You just click View Reports, and it will show you the originality report. So it'll scan it see if it's plagiarized. And that's all. But then if you go into Turnitin and you create an assignment and your students upload to it, or you upload for them, however it works, you can, when you're in there, you can use the originality report, and then you can also use grade mark and Peermark. So that's the limitation of Manage Back, is that you only can view that. The grade mark allows you to check for grammar, and then the Peermark allows the students to do peer review. So do you guys want me to do how to create an assignment quick, or do you?
Do we have to log in based on our last year's report, or do you?
Your login should be your email, and then if you forgot your password, you could say retrieve password. I don't know if it's Yvonne.Baxter or iBaxter.
Do you want? Mine up so many years ago.
I can actually. Check really quick. Okay. So I can tell you guys. Here, Yvonne. Yours is Yvonne Baxter. Yvonne.Baxter. And Donna, yours is D. Isaacs at Leisure Academy.
Yeah, I think I might be in. Because all my classes have expired.
So if you don't remember, then when you just go to the login, put in your email, then you can say forgot password. I think they'll
No, I think I'm in.
Oh, okay.
But does it say like hello Donna or something? I'm guessing I'm in. Oh, there it is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Okay. Okay, so when you go in, you'll see there's the dashboard, and then it also, the other tab at the top says all classes. So this is where you go if you want to add a class. You click on this button. Hi. And then you can do it by section, or you could do like however you want. You probably don't want to do like all of a whole grade level. So Corey, do you know how to log in to Turnitin?
I haven't tried yet.
Okay. So
sorry I'm late.
that's okay. So you want to just go to turnitin.com,
okay, and
then try and log in. It should be your login is corey.larue@leisuredenacademy.org, but your password, I think you probably got an email. But if you don't remember, you can just say forgot password and try and get in there.
See that email, so.
It would have been like the second week of school or something, so you can just say forgot password.
Oh, you won't believe this. I'm having internet problems now.
Oh no!
There we go.
So what you can do is you can add your class. Here you say add class, and then it'll walk you through. You just can say it's standard, and you name it. Enrollment password is if you want your students to go into the class, you just create a general enrollment password for all students. So something really simple, you can just say math or English, or you can say bulldogs, or when something very easy for them, I would do it all lowercase too. And then it will tell you when it starts and when it ends. So I'll just put bulldogs, and this is not as easy to see if you forget what you put as your enrollment password. So if your students are going to go in and submit assignments on their own, this is what you give them for class ID and enrollment password. So you can write it down, or you'll see over here as my sample one, here's the class ID right here, in case you don't write it down. Also under the edit button, you can click here and you'll see your enrollment password in case you forget. Is everyone with us?
Where's the thing I'm supposed to write down you said, or?
That's on yours. So if you want to, try and log into turnitin.com, Corey. Yeah. Oh, one thing I wanted to tell you guys too is actually, I had trouble with one of the features working when I used Google Chrome. So I've been using Explorer to do it. It gave me the error one time in Firefox. I wasn't sure after, so I would recommend using Explorer just because that's the only browser for some reason that has always worked. I called them because it wasn't working, and the guy said try a different browser, and that's how it did. So they said they were looking into that problem, but who knows what that means. So just so you know, if you ever have trouble when you click on it and there's like a pop-up screen and it wouldn't let me like view it, it kept saying it wasn't available, it was my browser. So if you get that error, try a different browser. Okay, so Corey, are you in?
No, I'm looking for my password, so I'm way behind you guys, sorry.
That's okay. You can try and just search by putting Turnitin, because that's who it came from. I think that one right there. So there's your password.
Oh, okay.
So the first time you go in, it'll ask you for that, and then I think you can change it. So if you want, if you click on this link and then log in.
Thank you.
You can probably change it.
Yeah, and in archives too, but just so it doesn't close like April. Just defaulted it. Classes closed like April 13th or something.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Can we change the name once we...
Yep, you can just go right in here on this screen wherever you have it, click on edit, and it will let you rename it. Okay, so once you've created your class and you click on the name of your class, you can click add assignment, and if you want to do just a regular submit a paper assignment, that's the first one. You hit paper assignment, and then you put in your title. You can decide if you want to put how many points it's worth if you're going to grade it, but you don't have to. So I'm just going to put the paper, I'm going to put who am I paper, and then your start date, your due date. Post date means the date that if you go in and grade it, it's the date the students can see it. So if you want to say, okay, I'll grade them all by October 24th, and that's the day they can see it, they can get their grade and receive your feedback.
So
it's post date. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Under optional settings, this is where you can go through. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory. You can decide if you want to allow the students to submit after the due date. If you're not sure about any of them, this little blue question mark is really good at explaining it too. And if you want to generate originality reports. The only one that I suggest changing is the one that says exclude bibliographic materials. I say yes, because otherwise when it comes back and it says like 20% plagiarized, a lot of time it's just that it's the exact work cited and it's not really something in the paper. So if you want to eliminate that, you can say don't show me that. And you can also say you want to exclude quotes. So if a student puts something directly in quotes and then they cite it, even though they put it in quotes and they cited it, it's going to just come back and say this was copied. So those are the only two. I mean, you can always go into when you read the report and say, oh, that wasn't plagiarized, that's why. But this kind of saves you some time if you check off, exclude those two things. Okay. One other thing you can do with the grade mark is you can submit your rubric into, turn it in ahead of time, and then the students, when they go in, they'll see their grade in the rubric if you want. It doesn't let you just upload a rubric from Word. You have to actually paste it into the little boxes, so it can be a little tedious. So it's up to you if you want to do that. I did add a rubric the other day. Who am I? I copied one of Marcia's rubrics in there, and like I said, it's kind of tedious, but at the same time it's nice if you just want to grade it right there and have the rubric, or even if it's like you have a general rubric. I don't know if you have a general rubric for, like, I guess you don't, for research paper, or depending on what type of assignment is. So it's up to you. And then you can select the ETS is the grammar check. What grade level you want to do. I'm going to put it on middle school just because I'm going to submit a middle school paper. And then I'll hit submit. So once you do that, this is the assignment I just created. There's the information. If you want to click on view, it's going to show you who's turned it in, which here's the list of my students. They're all funny names, but you'll see none of them have submitted it when you click on view. If you want to edit it, you go here, and if you want to delete it, and you can also manually submit a student's paper. So just so you can see what happens here, 3 out of 4 students turned it in. And this was just one I was playing with, and so here's what they had turned in. Now, one thing also that Turnitin does is it checks against magazines, newspapers, websites, but it also checks against any papers that are submitted into their bank. So if a student from Leisure submitted a paper last year and they turned it in to Turnitin, and then a student this year tried to copy that paper, it'll show up. It'll say this paper was plagiarized from a Leisure student. Or if for some reason they're allowed to submit twice, the second time they submit, it might come up and say, oh, this was already submitted to Leisure. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that happened a couple years ago.
It did?
It was a kid in Florida. It was the exact same essay. And I talked to the mom, and she was like, oh, that's my nephew. And I was like, oops. So they caught that.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So it works.
Wow.
I have a question, Christine. You delete, like, Julian submitted his EE and was like, oh, because he needs to put more, so we deleted it, but it still went into the archive.
Yeah.
There's no way to not.
When you, actually, I think, you can unclick here if you want, and it says where it's going to search. You can say don't search the student paper repository. So if you unclick that, it will not.
I can see what is and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So that one there. Okay, so let me show you what happens when you look at your report. So this was, it's going to say the similarities are high because it was, I copied this off the internet. But Actually, let me show you a different one. So when you click on the percentage, it's going to show you over here how many matches there are. So this one was submitted to Leisure-Den because it was the same student. But normally if you click on view the breakdown here, it's going to show you the percentage. It'll show you where it came from, and you can click on it if you want to see exactly where this was. It will show you what it was, the American Public University System. If it's just a website, it'll show you, it'll bring you directly to that website if you want, and show you exactly where they copied it from. So it's going to highlight it, it'll tell you where it's from. Usually if there's more than one, I guess this wasn't the best example, they'll have more up there. Now again, you might want to turn off the bibliographic information so it doesn't pick it up. So up here you could just scroll if you want to see where the different sources are from, to view where it came from. You can also go down here at the bottom and you can say filter. Again, if you didn't click it over there, you can say exclude these certain things, or you can say exclude matches that are less than 10 words if you felt like it was just picking up short little things. That's one kind of drawback, is it does pick up a lot of things that aren't necessarily plagiarized. And if it's from more than one site, it will show you, it'll say multicolor highlighting. So it'll show you. So that's the features that you want to use in here. Down here at the bottom, it'll say info. If you want, you can just see what day and time they put it in. You can do a word count. So Virginia, that might be helpful for EE. It will say how many, where they came from, percentage, if it was graded. So that's where you can get the information. Okay, does anyone have any questions about reading the reports? You can also zoom in down here if you want to make it bigger. This will just let you see how to adjust the size of it.
Is there a simple way to print it?
Right down here at the bottom.
Oh, okay, there it is. Thank you.
And you have to do it as a PDF for some reason. But
oh, okay. But it all pops up as far as...
Yep, just at the bottom there. So info, print, filter, I think that's it. Now if you wanted to move on to Grademark, you can do that. The Grademark is up here at the top, so this is where you switch between the three. And in Grademark, oops, what it does is, this is actually really neat. It'll find all of the grammatical and spelling errors for you. So if you're going through a paper and you're just constantly like marking all these things off, it will do it for you in here. Some of them you might want to change. Like I know someone was using it last week and it kept coming up with something that they didn't agree with, and they wanted to turn it off. But most of them are really good. So it's a little overwhelming when you first look at it, but if you hover over the purple, it will tell you it's missing a comma. So it says right there to the student, you may need to place a comma after this word. Now if you didn't agree and you were like, oh, that's not the right one, you can hit dismiss and it will remove it. So if you don't want that there. This one is a fragment. It's saying it may be a fragment or incorrect punctuation. So again, if you feel like this is too vague, you could just say dismiss, and then you could highlight it and put in there exactly what the problem was if you wanted to. So independent clause with a complete subject and predicate. So that might be a little confusing to the students, right? So you could say dismiss if you want, and then go back in and you can highlight it, and then you can add your own comment. So as soon as you highlight it, it'll pop up a box and you can enter a comment, and then you can say check for whatever you want to say, run on, I don't know, and hit save.
And the kids can see that then?
Yep, the kids will see this.
That's awesome.
So they'll be, as soon as they highlight over here. So you'll see down here, of course, there's a lot of them because it went through the works cited, but this was the one article error. that Marcia was doing. I think she didn't want it, so she just dismissed it. Now, if you feel like in here there's a sentence that's awkward, over on the right side here, there's all the commonly used grammatical errors and comments that you can use. You can click on this little bar here and you can say, okay, what are the common formatting ones? And it will come up and it will tell you, okay, capital error, and then you could just drag it over and say you didn't capitalize this. So the students see all of them. Again, you just hover over it if you want to delete it. You can just hit the trash can if you want to get rid of any of them.
How do the kids see which, like the capitalization, which word's not being capitalized correctly? Is it highlighted or?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see on here because it is a lot of going on, but just say it was this word. Oh, where's my cursor, funny? Oh. You just highlight it. Why am I not? And then you can say capitalization, or you can do it right here too. Sorry. I'm sorry, I guess I can't. I spelled it wrong. So it's right here as soon as they hover over it. I think you just can't see it on this smartboard. Is that what it is? Because it usually just colors it and you can see it. The other thing you can do is you can change the color of the highlight. So if you wanted to say, okay, make this one stand out more, once you highlight it, I don't know why this is not showing up right. There. So you can say make it pink, and then it will change it because it is kind of hard to see it. And put your comment in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you wanted to erase, like put a strike through, you can highlight it and you just hit the backspace key on your computer, delete or backspace, and it will put a line through it for them. If you want to just say don't show it. Again, over here, the commonly used, you guys can go through these and you can say, when you hover over it, down below here, it will show you what it means. And the students will see that too when they hover over it. It will explain it. Does that make sense? You can also add some in here. Like if you feel like you're always putting the same thing, you can add your own commonly used. So you can just drag them over. What do you want?
So like when you put in the comments, where do the kids see them? Do they print? We would print it out obviously, but where do the comments show up?
They just show up on here. This is how the student sees them. So they have to go through it. So the students go back in to turn it in, they open it up, and then they see it.
So like if this was a student's paper right there that was submitted, they would see all those different colored things.
Right.
Put their cursor on it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, you can also, if you want, you can just enter like a general note up at the top. Or, this is kind of a cool thing, down here at the bottom, you can just do a voice comment. So if you want to just record it, you can just say, you know, you did a great job, but this is wrong, da, 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 instead of typing it. Or you can do just a text comment. This can just be your general, overall, whatever comment. And then the student will see this when they go in as what they're, you know, if you want to put in their grade or just general comments. This right here, oh, this is the other thing that will show you. On this page, there's 48 comments. And the student can click on here, and then it will show a list of them. So that's a little bit easier to see, too, for them. You can click on them and say show on paper. So it will show them where they all are.
Oh, isn't that cool?
I guess this is probably the easiest way for them to read it. I think it is kind of overwhelming when you go into it, and it's not like as precise, but when you do it in here, it's better. And then if you attach a rubric, this is where your rubric would be, and you can click on it and you can say, okay, exposition was 5, development was 3, and it will show the students here what their grade is. Style, conclusion, and then it will show 3 out of 5. Well, I guess I don't know, it's not really 3 out of 5, is it? When you click on the little arrow, it will show you your rubric like this. But again, this is like the one that's made up in there, and I don't think these are probably really that helpful for us. So you don't have to use that, but again, if you wanted to, you could set up your own rubric. Like I said, I thought it was kind of tedious. And the last thing is, under here, it's showing you what it's looking for grammar. So if you wanted to, in your essay, and you were like, you know what, I really don't care about style, you can click that and it will just remove any of the errors that it found. So you can just look for usage or just look for spelling, whatever you want. So there you can control what they look at.
Can you control like certain things within a group?
No.
It's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing, yeah. Which is a bummer, because that was the problem Marcia was having when she was looking at it. I forget what it was. There was one that kept showing up, and she said it didn't really make sense. Or, oh, article error. And she didn't want to show up. Okay, so the Quickmarks, again, you can add some more if you want to. So you can go into here and say, okay, I want to add some to these sets, and you just hit a plus and add more. So it might be something, I mean, you guys would know better what you would most commonly put in, and then it will show up in over here.
Do those stay for all assignments or just for that particular assignment?
For all of them, they'll be here. Yeah. So it's pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
It's been so much time, like spelling.
Yeah.
Well, because it does it on its own, you have to look.
Oh yeah, because that was automatic.
You know,
Yeah.
Because you will drop in awkward.
Thank you.
And then it just seems awkward. Just like, this is so weird. Just be able to drop that in. It's so much easier than awkward.
Yeah, and then it will say right there, the student will see, is cumbersome or difficult to read, consider rewriting. So, yeah. Yeah.
is it limited to 30 seconds? It has a limit, yeah.
It's limited to 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
The text comment is also limited to 5,000 words. So.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
It's 20 pages.
I was going to say that.
As long as they're essays.
That was it. The other one that you can use too is Peermark if you want, and that allows the students to review each other's papers. The one thing that I find a little bit awkward about it is you have to go in and add it as an assignment. So the same way that you added a paper, you would add the Peermark. So if I wanted under this Who Am I paper for the students to do a Peermark, you click on Peermark assignment, and then it walks you through it, but you have options in here. So you can have them automatically just pair up the students, and they don't see each other's names, the reviewer and the reviewee. So it's all anonymous. Or you can specifically go in and assign. So you can say, I want Joey to read Susie's and whoever you want. So you can decide how you do that. And then the students go in and they can make their comments. When you go in and do it, you can also select what you want the students to, why won't it just let me do this?
Yeah, prompting questions. I looked at it before, yeah.
Yeah, so there's prompting questions in there. Why is this? You set this to.
Yeah.
Like, in the students that they're like covered in paper. Like, I read so much, but I'm just like it's hard for me to read on the computer, to be honest with you. It's hard to do.
Well, yeah, and this I think is almost easier than the one from ManageBack. Have you tried the one on ManageBack?
I haven't tried that one.
It's so cumbersome and it doesn't print out well at all. So that's why I wanted to see
When
if
I've used this, I printed it out. And then
Where does it say late paper? Why is this?
It's like, it's just double the word.
I like the tablet computers, like
Yeah, Marcia has.
Oh, that's the one. I wonder if they're going to go back to those, because that was perfect for English teaching.
Yeah, that's what I felt maybe with
Yeah.
But just because it's 6th grade, they're still learning all the like just the structure. And I gotta make like little lines, like it's one box. Put it all together, you know, like that.
So when you go in here, it'll say to you, you can say how many papers you want the students to review, if you want to pair them, if you want to exclude certain students, you can say that. And then here is where you add the questions. Say you're done. So it could be a free response where you ask the question, or there's a bank of questions. Again, I kind of felt like these are a little bit, I don't know. I mean, you guys know what you wanted, but see how it's like, can the conclusion be convincingly drawn from the thesis? So they're a little more advanced. But if you want, you could just click on these and say, yes, add the question. These are the questions the students are going to answer, or you can create your own. And so when the student goes into Peermark the assignment, they have to fill in the answers to the specific questions. So you can just make them up and say, no, they're like commenting it and saying, yeah, they're saying this sounded good or it didn't, and you can do it as a scale too, so they can look at it.
And if you pair the students, do they know, is it still anonymous as to who's they're grading, or were you?
You know what, I'm not sure about that. I think it's, I don't know about that. That's a good question. Because I know
Is it randomly handed?
if you ask them to pair,
Kind of shuffle and give everybody
I don't know.
Make it random or make it, right? I think you choose.
That's a good question.
Pairs. What I was wondering is if you assign pairs,
It'd still be anonymous.
yeah, right, we couldn't know whose paper they're grading.
Because you can also let them select, require, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably when I left.
I don't know. I can look that up and let you guys know.
I don't know that I'll do that, but
I was
just thinking, just to teach English.
The format of that question, because like, students will submit sometimes things like in a chart, you know, and it doesn't, I don't think they're saying they're having a problem, like it doesn't come out looking like that.
Because it loses the formatting. One thing they can do is they could save it as a PDF, which would keep it in that format, and you can upload PDFs
Okay.
when they submit.
Okay.
Yeah.
For your charts?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. So they can
And
do
then you
that.
can still go in and make all the full comments and do all that stuff on PDF.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I was thinking about this, DP kids.
yeah. And if you have like a student and you want to submit a paper for them, you can, and you'll see right here it will tell you it can be Word, WordPerfect, PDF, HTML, Office, and plain text. That's the other thing, it doesn't accept pages. So if students are working on a Mac and it doesn't have Microsoft Word, it won't accept the pages file. But the other thing is, if students have trouble with that, the other thing they can do is they can also just hit cut and paste. So some students were on the Mac, they just went in and copied the paper and then pasted it in there instead of saving it as a PDF. But they can do either one.
So if I have the paper, can I search for it in my documents just to upload it, or do I have to do the cut and paste?
No,
They
you
turn
can
it
search.
into me and then.
You can, if they turn it into you, you just can just go like this, single file upload, and then if your students are already in there, you can pick the student's name,
Oh, okay.
and then yes, you just hit browse, and then you can find it wherever it is on your computer. Yeah.
So
That makes
how
sense.
do the students' names get in there? Do you have to type them all in?
Nope. So when you created your assignment and you had that little number course code that you wrote down and the password, that's what the students just go and they log in. Most of the students at our school have an account,
That's right.
so they can go and then they just put that code in when they upload it.
So they have to enter the class.
I think all of the students have an account except 6th grade actually. Yeah. And if you want, I can go in and upload your students ahead of time. And then they get an email and they create their account. But I find for like high school, they can just go in and create their account, then they remember their username, hopefully, and password. But for middle school, I went in and uploaded them all.
And then
Yeah. But yeah, the middle.
First, last name or first should
It asks for their email, so
Oh.
they just use their school
the
email.
full one?
Yeah.
First and last name?
Yeah.
Okay. I was having trouble because some were going, they entered themselves twice.
Oh.
And I can't get them off the roster. You know, like they have the short version, long version.
I think you can delete it.
Yeah.
There was one kid, I went in and deleted their wrong one. They put in like a wrong email.
So if you go in the tab at the top that says students, if they have 2, you can just go and hit drop and drop them.
Oh.
If they tell you whichever
It
one.
looks like they entered something because they don't.
Yeah.
If you submitted, I think they submitted it.
Well, it might be confusing for the seniors, because I think they were like us, that they had the .com at one time, right? And they had like first initial last name, whereas now all the students are on first name, last name, .org, but, right?
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Maybe, I don't know.
should we do like a everybody comes to the library and set up your own account?
Sure.
Idea rather than you making it fun? Would that be easier?
Sure. Whatever you'd like. You can let me know. Okay, do you guys have any questions? The other thing is, real quick, at the top here it says help. And there's like really good tutorials in here if you ever just, it like gives you screenshots and walks you through step by step of the different things if you're ever stuck on something. And you can search too, but it will tell you how to work everything. Okay. Yeah.
They're gonna be on CBS Sunday morning next Sunday.
Really?
There's gonna be. I'm gonna DVR it because I have it set. I like that show. It makes me feel good. It's like the good news of the week. But they're gonna feature them.